Authors, artists, musicians, scientists. They all have names that we know, they all have material that we know, but I personally enjoy researching the more bottom of the sink aspects of their lives, to see more silly things, like what their favourite ice cream flavour was, or what they did in their spare time. But what about a historical figure who both doesn't have their materials well known, but also doesn't have much information on what they were like? Historical figures who have contributed much to humanity, only to gain a poorly written, barely one-page Wikipedia article on them where the author constantly misspells their name. I'm hoping that you, the reader, is red with anger by reading that. How is that possible, you may say? Well, it is possible. Dorothy Virginia Nightingale was born somewhere near the Rockies, Colorado. As little is documented about her, I could just assume that she's born in South Park, but that's it. For all the credible information on her upbringing, she was born in Colorado, and in 1919 she joined the University of Missouri as an undergraduate student. She began her student life in a 3-year chemistry course, whereafter she carried on at Mizzou for an extra year postgrad course. It is also important to note that she had to learn German and French to even grasp the physical chemistry concepts, which was customary, knowing that all books were written by Fritzy or Frenchie. She actually got so good at German that in the second undergrad year, she graded it at Mizzou. Other early accolades for Nightingale included becoming student assistant at the start of a postgrad course and topping this off by becoming the instructor of chemistry at Mizzou in 1923, after getting a master's. Alan Easton, a Stanford grad, became the assistant professor at Mizzou around Nightingale's second year of undergrad, only 17 years after his assistant professor appointment. That's a long time. That's like one of my lifetimes. Nightingale, however, only became professor after 31 years. That's like half of Mr. Allen's lifetime. Yes, Mr. Allen's that old, and yes, that's a long time. No matter what gap in experience there was between Stern and Nightingale, it can't possibly equate to a whole 14 years of extra work. She also achieved a lot, directing research for a class of 24 PhD students and 26 master's students. Her main interest was chemiluminescence, the study of light produced by chemical reactions that don't have significant energy. She also did work on the action of aluminum chloride on alkyl benzenes. This built upon Friedelkraft's work on how chlorine reacts with benzene in the presence of the aforementioned metal halide catalyst. Her findings showed that alkylated benzene molecules react with aluminum chloride to produce a plethora of different organic molecules. Whose production was all based on temperature, volume of catalyst used, and even the alkyl benzene used. Products of these reactions include hydrocarbons, by the homolytic fusion of alkyl molecules, paraffins, which is just an old word for hydrocarbons combusted to produce light, and olefins, monounsaturated hydrocarbons. Overall, she released 56 publications, which all contributed to increasing yields of toluenes, which are extremely important molecules in organic synthesis. Lastly, as the final nail in the STEM is sexist coffin, I remind you to not forget her effort. I mean, she gave me all the information I used to make this piece. I employed A History of the Department of Chemistry, University of Missouri, Columbia. This was authored by Nightingale. She basically wrote an autobiography of her chemistry class, how it started, how it was taught, which old fart did what. It was all there. If Mr. Allen ever requests me to do the same, I'll rightfully show the old man the finger. But she did it for Mizzou, and only dedicated 1 page to herself. Barely 1 page, actually. Shocking, I know. I just believe that after half a century of work she had done at Mizzou, she must have had a version of Stockholm Syndrome and blindly accepted that request. But she still documented it professionally, 62 whole pages of research, followed by great writing, but again, none of this is shown publicly. Nothing more than an author name, but I digress. I had to get my wellies dirty digging around the same internet rabbit hole where Osama stashed his copy of Chicken Little and where the CIA are keeping the Kennedy files. It's sickening that this is the case. Nightingale was a saint. Her story should have been out and open for the world to see, where aspiring female scientists can look up to her as some sort of a Bill Nye, if he wasn't such a prick. I could be putting this all away in my documents and our STEM was and is run by white old men, but I'd rather save that for the director's cut. All that you need to know as the reader hasn't even been touched on, because it can't. The information on Nightingale, like mint chocolate chip or plain vanilla, isn't public. I wasn't even documented. I don't ask for you as a reader to go scouring the internet for more information on Nightingale, but I do ask for you to research a female chemist, or any chemist for that matter, who has done so much work behind the curtains. Let their stories be told. Anyway, this is going to be take 1 of Dorothy Virginia Nightingale by Dylan DePortoli. Dorothy Virginia Nightingale was born somewhere near the Rockies, Colorado. Fuck! Okay, I'll keep what's good there. Rockies, Colorado. Okay. As little is documented about her, I could just assume that she was Fuck! And topping this off by becoming the... Alan E. Stern, a Stanford grad, became the professor at MISO. Okay, let me start again. Alan E. Stern, a Stanford grad, became this... Fuck! Alan E. Stern, a Stanford grad. Oh, fuck's sake! Alan E. Stern, a Stanford grad. No, I need to start at a different pace. Only 17 years after his assistant Fuck! He became the professor of chemistry at MISO in 1938. Only 17 years after his assistant professor appointment. Okay, no. Her main interests were chemiluminescence, the study of light produced by chemical reactions that don't have significant energy. Okay, no. Her main interests were chemiluminescence. She also did work on the action of aluminum chloride on alkyl benzenes. This built upon Friedel-Crafts' work on how chlorine reacts with benzene in the presence of the aforementioned metal halide catalyst. Okay, no. She also did work... Fuck, I sound like Irish. She also did work on the action of aluminum... She also did work on the action of aluminum chloride on alkyl benzenes. This built upon Friedel-Crafts' work on how chlorine reacts with benzene in the presence of the aforementioned metal... Her findings showed that alkylated benzene molecules with Lastly, as a final nail, her findings showed that alkylated benzene molecules react with aluminum chloride to produce a plethora of different organic molecules, whose and olefins, monosaturated hydrocarbons. No, it's monounsaturated because that's one double bond. I just read it wrong. And, overall, she released 56 publications, which all contributed to increasing years of... Overall, she released... I sound like I'm laughing. If Mr. Allen ever requests me to do the same, I'll rightfully show the old... If Mr. Allen ever requests me to do the same, I'll rightfully show... Dude, this is really, really annoying. If Mr. Allen ever requests me to do the same, I'll rightfully show the old man the finger. No. One more time. I had to get my wellies dirty digging around in the same internet... Nothing more than an author name, but I digress. I had to get my wellies dirty digging... Okay, sorry, some dickheads just walking... Okay, they're not really dickheads, they're just walking on pavement, but getting in my way. Hold on. Nothing more than an author name, but I digress. Nightingale was a saint. The story should have been out and open for the world. Nightingale was a saint. Nightingale was a saint. Nightingale was a saint. A story should have been... Nightingale was a saint. Nightingale was a saint. A story... Okay, no. All you need to know is... All the... I don't ask for you as the reader to be... I could be putting this all away in my document. I could be putting this all away in my documents and I'll stamp... Fuck's sake! Nightingale was a saint. A story should have been out and open for the world to see, where aspiring female Nightingale was a saint. Nightingale was a saint. Her story should have been... Jesus Christ, now it's going to take a long time to edit. Probably I'm going to put up the times right after this.